loud too much. You're not craning your neck or anything.
No,
or
I'm
you're good?
pretty good. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. I'm going to put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Because, I don't know, for these kind of things, I try not to, like, be distracted by things. Because,
Yeah.
I don't know, the aesthetic is just two people sitting down talking to each other. And I'd rather we not be, again, distracted by incoming messages, notifications.
Definitely.
People walking into the room to tell you something or something like that.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's the name of the game when I'm needed, but I just told Susan not to come in and interrupt. But
right.
I said if it's an urgent matter, then
of course,
text me or something. But yeah.
And then I can just cut that out later. But
okay. Yeah.
How you been? What's been going on?
I've been good. Busy like normal. This semester a little bit less than last semester, but still busy and chugging away at things. So,
any big things you're working on right now?
I think the biggest thing we're working on right now is senior week. We're having a little bit of a tough time just getting things to fit within a shortened amount of time. But overall, we've been pretty successful at fitting everything that used to be in plus some extra stuff. So, right, okay, yeah.
I think I remember in the last semester, I was disappointed I wasn't able to be part of SGA because I had a scheduling conflict. You know, of course, I still come out and hang out with you guys.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's cool to see the things you guys are doing.
Yeah. This year specifically, we've been trying to focus more on some of the more, I guess, high-level things that we haven't really touched on in the past. So really trying to advocate for students to get their views and opinions out to administration, but also helping out our clubs a lot more than we have been in the past. Because our real main focus here is to support all clubs and organizations on campus, and we've really strayed away from that over the past couple of years. So I'm trying to really push people in the right direction. And it's been a lot of learning for myself. It's been a lot of learning for the board and the new Senate, because in years past, it hasn't been that way. Yeah. And I've really taken more of like a managerial approach to the way that I'm running things. Whereas years past, it's kind of just been a free-for-all. People do what they want and won't say exactly what they're doing and give updates. But I've been more of a manager of things, trying to, not a micromanager, but I've been trying to just have people update me, working together on things, being able to, I guess, better communicate with full group, with the campus community and things like that. So overall, I think it's been a better experience, or a really great experience for me, to learn a lot of this managerial and people skills, because going on into the real world, you're going to get the same exact things. Yeah.
Whatever happened to the President's Select Committee on Student Involvement, and what it was called?
Yeah, so we're still working on that. This month got crazy. The meeting was scheduled. So I scheduled it last semester on a date that was like this super big, I don't remember what it was specifically, but it was a big program that we weren't actually running. It was just like another campus-wide event. So we had to cancel. So I just said, we're going to cancel the February one, but we're starting again in March. So so that committee is really just a focus group type committee, where we kind of can have a really open conversation about what it is people would like to see changed. And we specifically designed it so that SGA members wouldn't be part of it, that we only have a certain number of SGA members in to facilitate. But everyone else was supposed to be just a regular student, maybe having had SGA experience would be good. But we were trying to get the average student, and we really opened it up to those that ran in SGA elections and, let's say, didn't get elected or dropped out because they thought it was too much, or they just lost the election, because they have so many great ideas and projects in mind, and we wanted to give them an outlet to do that. So that's why we created the President's Select Committee on Student Involvement and Feedback, which I abbreviate as PSCIF or something like that. So that's in my calendar as that. So yeah, overall, it's been successful. We have a lot more people interested this semester. And we've had a couple that have come in for like ratifications, for example, for a new senator position that opened up, but they didn't get elected or what have you. So we have a bunch of new people filling in as well.
Yeah, and I'm thankful that you, at the beginning of last semester, you reached out to me to be part of that committee because, like I said before, like I wasn't able to be part of SGA proper because of a scheduling conflict, and I thought it was a good idea to have such a focus group for to bring people together to converse about what's happening on campus and the university at large, and offer ideas on what could be changed.
Definitely, yeah. That was the real goal of the committee, was to do exactly that, and even branch out from the campus community into the West Hartford community and things like that to try and see what we can do better to assist all our students.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by the way, if there's still room in the committee for like one more person, I would gladly come in like for the meetings to be there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we're always looking for people.
You're a senior right now, right? You're going to graduate soon.
Correct. Yes.
And
yep.
How's it feel?
It's interesting to feel. So last semester didn't really hit me. I was kind of just doing my own thing and working a lot and trying to better the campus. So that's really been my focus this year.
Yeah.
I can't tell you the number of times I've kind of said, all right, well, 1 second, let me do my homework later. I have to do this.
Yeah.
Or go to a meeting or something like that.
Yeah.
So last semester, a lot of things going on, a lot of running back and forth from different things. So I didn't really think about it until we got into this semester, specifically with some of the programs we've been putting on for graduating seniors. One was a senior transition panel where we brought some alums back to campus and just They talked about their transition into the working world or graduate school or what have you.
Yeah.
And then we also did a fair, which included graduate assistant programs, healthy eating, the career studio, giving information out, and then some employers. So until that point, and until we started getting into some of the more, I guess, issues that it comes with graduation as well, like with senior portraits and yearbook and commencement and things like that I've been dealing with. Now it's really been hitting me.
Yeah.
So I think it's like almost 80 days till graduation right now.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I know, like being president of the Student Government Association, that's a big thing on your plate. It takes up a lot of your time. Are you how many classes are you taking? How big is your load right now?
Yeah, so I'm in 12 class hours, 12 credit class hours, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And then I have a 3-credit research project. So I'm at 15 credits right now, which is the least I've ever been.
Yeah.
In the engineering curriculum, we normally have 17 to 18 credits.
Yeah.
And I don't think we've ever gone below 17 in all 4 years that we've had, or all 3.5 years that I've had classes. This semester, because of the way the curriculum is set up, I was able to take a couple classes early, so I only have 12 class hours, which has been really nice because I have a lot more time to kind of relax, watch Netflix, things like that. So as much as I work and try and get SGA kind of prominent again on campus, I still have time to relax, watch Netflix, go on jogs, stuff like that.
Yeah. I wish I was able to, like, say, take it easy in terms of taking classes, because in the first place, I'm putting all this on myself, having what is essentially a triple major and then like a minor. Yeah. And like I'm also, it's very much overflowing to the point where I'm overloading pretty much every semester up to like 20-ish credits.
Oh, wow.
And like, I'm also planning on like summer courses, maybe a winter course. On some level, I still want to be part of SGA and all that, just to be part of the group and trying to help the greater university community. But on the other hand, like say last semester, it was pretty hectic.
Oh yeah, I can imagine with 3 majors.
Yeah. And now it's, in the moment, I was like, thank God I'm not an SGA, because having to like go to meetings and do other things while I'm, juggling all this, it would be, it'd be hell.
Yeah, that is one thing that college has really taught me, is how to time manage. And in high school, I don't think I ever sat down in high school. Literally from the moment classes ended at 2:15 or whatever time it was to 9 p.m., I would be going out, but aka like going to meetings, doing things, out of the house, going to meetings, going to rehearsals, practices constantly. I don't think I ever had a day off. Even my friends in high school, now that I talk to them more outside of high school and college, they're like, wow, you were never around in high school. And I was like, that is true, because I was so busy. So in college, I've kind of, I still wanted to be involved, but I knew that I didn't want to be as involved as I was like in high school. So I've really so freshman and sophomore year, I definitely was still in that mindset of like, do as many things as you can to fill up your time.
Yeah.
But then junior and senior year, I came to realize that if you're not passionate about something and you don't want to give 100% into something, you're never gonna achieve what you'd like to achieve.
Yeah.
So I started peeling back a little bit on the things I was doing. So now really I'm only doing 2 or 3 things that I actually like to do.
Yeah.
So other than SGA, I'm in pep band and I'm a CETA ambassador. So part of the whole admissions team for CETA. And
CETA,
that's really,
as in the College of Engineering, Technology, and Architecture?
Correct. Yes, exactly. And those are really the only 3 things I do, because those are the things I've enjoyed over my 4 years here that I've come to realize I like to do and I enjoy doing it. I get a lot out of it. It's very fulfilling.
Yeah, and in the same way, I'm trying to shed the things that I feel are extraneous. They're not exactly things I want to be doing, to make room for other things, like, say, doing the podcast. This is the kind of thing that's going to take up a lot of my time, at least depending on like how many episodes I record during a given week. But this is something I'm really invested in, and I want this to be an ongoing thing. I don't ever want to stop.
Yeah, definitely. And this will help you in your career as well. This is something you could put on your resume.
It's already on there.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, like, for example, being in SGA is not helping me. Well, I guess to an extent it's helped me on my resume, but it's not something that most engineering companies will look at and say, oh, wow, you learned a lot of technical skills being part of Student Government Association, so we're going to hire you because you had all this experience. It has nothing to do with that. It's more of like, oh, okay, you took on a leadership role.
Yeah.
Now we want someone that will be able to one day maybe be a manager. So I've neglected a lot of those like engineering clubs specifically because of all the other things I've been working on. But I've come to realize that if I'm in engineering classes with the engineering students the whole day, and then I go to clubs that have only engineering students, I'd go crazy.
Also, they're just the same people.
Exactly. So I need more differing opinions.
You need to broaden your circle.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. And everything that I do kind of is that way. So it's by nature, SGA has students from every part of the university because that's the way it's supposed to be set up, the way that it's written, things like that. So it is great to interact with people from every different walk of life, every different major, every different like mindset, which is really great. And I think that's why I've enjoyed my time so much, because of that.
Yeah, and I've enjoyed, like you said, being in SGA, meeting with all these different people from all over the university. It's cool to see what other people are like, but also I think me like spreading myself so thin with all these different programs I'm in. There's English, the film thing, and I'm getting certified to teach English. So I'm technically kind of in the education department. And then my music minor, I'm spread out over 4 departments, and I get to interact with so many different people.
Yeah, I think I have such high respect for education majors and teachers, and especially elementary school, kindergarten.
Yeah.
Specifically, I mean, even middle school teachers and high school teachers. I have respect for all teachers. I think it is such a noble profession. I definitely see myself. I've seen myself going into teaching since I was in middle school.
Yeah.
So, and I've always loved history, so I would probably be a history teacher or be a technical, like a tech ed teacher or something like that.
Yeah.
So definitely down the pipeline, I think I want to become a teacher. After I do engineering for a couple of years, I get sick of it, make lots of money, you know what I mean? And then maybe I'll become a teacher, but
I could see you as a history teacher.
yeah, I would enjoy it a lot. I think I would imagine it's more high stress than an engineering environment is, because you have to deal with so many different like kids, but I think I would really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think you would like go to graduate school to get like say a degree in history so you could start teaching?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know. I was on a panel a couple weeks ago for a scholarship day that they had here, and a parent came up to me after the panel and said, "Hi, I'm an engineer. I've been an engineer for 25 years, and I'm a manager now." And he said, "The one thing that got me to becoming a manager is getting my MBA." He said, "If I didn't get my MBA, I wouldn't have been a manager." And he also said, I don't remember the real statistic, but let's say 25%, this is not real, but it was something along the lines of 25% of CEOs have engineering degrees with an MBA. He said that to me straight out, and I go, "Thank you, I appreciate you telling me this." And it didn't hit me till after that he was trying to tell me to get my MBA so then I could become a manager and then maybe even one day become a high-level vice president, CEO, or something like that. So I think leaving college, maybe maybe a year, maybe 6 months from graduation, enrolling in an MBA program, maybe doing that for a little bit. If I come to realize that I truly want to be a teacher coming in 10, 15, 20 years down the road, I'll go back, go to night school, get a master's in teaching and do an accelerated program and maybe become licensed high school, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your major is mechanical engineering.
Correct, yeah, and acoustics.
With the concentration in acoustics,
Correct,
right?
yeah.
And how did you get into that?
Yeah, so in high school, I was always interested in sound, and a good friend of mine from 5th grade on, we both took an interest in doing live sound, like DJing parties, doing theatrical performances with microphones and things like that. So we started doing parties for friends and family.
Yeah.
And then we slowly started getting into the theatrical side of it, doing microphones for theatrical shows and things like that. So we started, it was almost in high school, almost every weekend we had a show, a gig, things like that. So slowly I became interested in more of the science behind how all of this worked. So for example, we'd be doing a show and there would be feedback coming in from the microphones, or we have two microphones and the space is huge and it starts reverberating. All the sound starts reverberating. And to me, it was like, why the heck is that happening? So that's how I got into the acoustic side of it. And it took me a long time. I wanted to go into college, going into environmental engineering, which is like civil engineering.
Yeah.
It's an offshoot of civil engineering. And I knew, like in middle school, going into high school, I knew I wanted to be an environmental engineer. I remember first year of high school writing an essay on why I wanted to be an environmental engineer, all this stuff. And I was in a pre-engineering program in high school, and slowly I became more interested in acoustics, and I knew not many schools offered acoustics.
Yeah.
And it's a really specialized field. A lot of schools offer maybe 1 or 2 classes in acoustics, but there's no like real program for it. So I said, all right, I'm just going to apply into a mechanical engineering program. So I applied to all of these mechanical programs because mechanical is really closest to what acoustics is, because mechanical is more like it's like the go-to engineering degree, jack of all trades. And then slowly doing research, found a couple of programs, and come to find out the University of Hartford had a undergraduate acoustics program. We have I think the only one in the country for undergraduate acoustics. A lot of acoustics is graduate level work. So Penn State, Purdue, I think Georgia Tech has a graduate acoustics program, but there is no other undergraduate program. And I said, I want to do that. So it made it very easy to come here. My dad actually came here for his MBA. So he graduated, I don't know, 1986 or 87 from college. And then in the 90s came here for his MBA when he was working in Hartford and things like that. So it was an easy, I guess, transition for me because I visited the school. My dad's like, oh yeah, I remember this building. I took classes in it and things like that. So it was easy to decide and ended up coming here. And I've enjoyed acoustics and mechanical engineering. To me, I don't see myself being a mechanical engineer my whole life. I think, like I said, going into something else, once I've been through with the job, or becoming a supervisor or a manager or something like that. But I also want to do something along the lines of like independent or private consulting with acoustics, because a lot of what acoustics is architectural, where they'll hire firms to come and do sound level measurements and reverberation time measurements. So maybe one day starting my own like consulting firm, just me, and it wouldn't be a firm, but it would just be just me going around and people hiring me to suggest different treatments to their rooms and things like that.
Right. Okay. Have you heard of the other program that's in acoustic engineering and music that's here at school?
Yes. Yeah. So it's very similar to what we do in the mechanical engineering and acoustics program. They take the same exact acoustics classes as we do in mechanical. The only thing that they do differently is they take a little bit less of the mechanical engineering curriculum. So they don't take like the really advanced heat transfer classes or some of those more advanced like mechanics classes and things like that. But they take all their classes in the Hart School, so their all their lessons and their performance groups and all of that. So I have a lot of respect for those guys because they're taking 21 credits constantly throughout college. And even going into senior year, they're taking 21 credits, and they're doing both a very rigorous program in mechanical engineering and acoustics, but also doing a program in the Hart School of Music, which is also a lot of work, a lot of practicing, a lot, and their credit hours in the Hart School don't really add up to what they're putting in. So you could get half a credit for one performance lecture or something, but it's really 6 hours a week, something like that. So really they're taking 21 credits, but they're probably putting in 30, 40, or even 50 hours of classroom time.
Yeah. When I'm registering for music classes, I always see a bunch of things that are like, oh, this seminar thing, this studio class, but they're all like 0 credit things. So it's like, and the limit for the Hart School kids is like 18 and a half credits instead of 18 in terms of a full load of credits. But then, so there's all of those things that are counting for credits, but then you have to account for whatever else they're taking that aren't actually, the credit count is 0.
Exactly.
Like they're always busy.
Exactly. So yeah, I give a lot of credit to those guys. They get a bachelor's of science in engineering, whereas the mechanical engineering students and acoustics, we get a bachelor's of science in mechanical engineering. Right. So it does limit your field just a little bit because a lot of employers will see acoustics and music, and if you're not going into acoustics, it may limit you a little bit. So like, for example, going into a big engineering company such as Pratt & Whitney, Electric Boat, something like that, they'll see acoustics. If they don't have an acoustics program, they just want to put you in a mechanical setting. It may be a little bit harder. But like, for example, we have a mechanical degree, but we have that acoustics background where we're able to apply it.
Did you ever consider doing the acoustic engineering and music program?
I don't think I ever did. So I've...
Because I heard you say you're in pep band. What do you play?
Yes, I play baritone.
Baritone saxophone?
No, baritone horn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I played that. So I started playing trumpet in 5th grade. I played throughout middle school, and then in high school I joined marching band, and they were looking for someone to play low brass baritone horn. and I jumped right away because there was like 25 trumpets in the one trumpet section in our marching band, and there were like 6 people in the low brass section.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm looking for a change. I'm not that great of a trumpet player. People take private lessons and all that stuff, so they were a lot better than I was. So I said, let me try something new. So in 9th grade, I switched over to baritone. All throughout high school, I played baritone, never picked up a trumpet. And I only was really in marching band. That was like my big thing. I wasn't in really the concert bands or like any of the jazz performance groups in high school. And I knew I wasn't the most amazing player because I didn't put enough time into it. I never really practiced because I was so busy, like I said before, doing everything else in high school. So I didn't really put too much time into it. I wasn't the great player. So I didn't really even consider the acoustics and music program. I knew it existed, but I knew I didn't want to do music in college like that at that caliber, especially at the Hart School of Music, Dance, and
Theater.
Theater, that's right. Because they're at a whole new level. So I knew I wanted to still play, have fun playing.
Yeah.
So that's why I joined pep band.
Yeah. I've heard about some people who say they're planning to go to the Hart School because like they've been playing music for a while and like they were always in like in band in high school and whatever, and then they think, oh, I like playing music. I've been doing it for a while. I'll probably do like an undergraduate education in music. Hart School, okay. Yeah. But then like say they're preparing all the things like, oh, this audition piece, that audition piece, what am I gonna take if I do get to go here and whatever, and they become overwhelmed because they weren't aware of what it actually takes to major in music. Because like I know I don't have what it takes to major in music. I definitely don't, but at least I know what it meant. And I think you knew it too.
I knew the same exact thing. I knew going in I was not great at music.
Yeah.
I literally only was in marching band. We don't have a marching band. I think if we had a marching band, I would have joined.
Yeah.
But we don't have a football team, so we don't have a marching band. But I knew pep band was something that was stress-free. Go when you can. Go to basketball games. I was going to want to go to basketball games anyways because I really wanted to be part of like the athletic culture at the university.
Yeah.
Because in high school, I really wasn't part of any sports or things like that. So I really wanted to go show my school spirit, things like that. So I knew I wanted to go to basketball games because that is our biggest sport on campus. So pep band kind of just fit right in. And actually, I have a funny story about joining. So 4 years ago, I was coming into the university and they hosted an ice cream social for legacy students.
Yeah.
So legacy students are those that had a family member or I guess even a relative come to the university. So with my dad being part of the MBA program and graduating, they invited me to this ice cream social with the president of the university at that time, Walter Harrison. Move-in weekend, like the day we moved in. So we went and I met a guy. His name is Dave. He was a junior or a sophomore at the time. I'm sorry. And he was like, hey, you should join pep band. And I'm like, because we started talking about music. And I'm like, at that point, I was like, oh, I don't know. I don't even have an instrument anymore. I was renting one at the time. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I don't even know. I don't know. And Walter Harrison was a big supporter of the pep band. So Dave went to go tell Walter Harrison, the president at the time, hey, this kid wants to join pep band. You should get him to join. So when we went to go take a picture with Walter Harrison, he stopped me and goes, I hear you play an instrument. What instrument? I say baritone. He goes, you should join the pep band. I'm like, I don't know. I didn't really want to do music in college. I know I'm in acoustics, but and all this. He goes, I better see you at the first basketball game. And at that point, I was like, all right, well, if the president of the university told me that I have to join pep band, I guess I have to. So from that point on, I've been part of pep band and I've enjoyed it. We have so much fun at the games. Although some years the men's and or women's team have not been great. Most of the games have been blowouts. We still have fun. We yell, we cheer, we have a good time. So I would not do anything different along those lines. Yeah. It's just such a fun experience. And I've met so many great people as well.
Yeah. That's good. That's a funny story. That's the president of a university gave you an ultimatum
Correct.
to join
exactly.
Pep Band.
And yeah, Walt, when he was here for the first year that I was here, at least before he retired, was such a big supporter of the band. He'd always come cheer us on. He came sometimes and like would help conduct the band. It was so fun. Yeah, when he was at all the games.
Sort of in a similar, not exactly similar, but I kind of fell into doing music here at the university because I've always been interested in music, although I didn't start actually playing until like my senior year of high school. I was always fascinated by it, and I figured if I could learn things, sure, I would take the opportunity. And so when I was first enrolling here at a university in fall 2018, I figured I really like music theory. I'm a nerd for theory. I'm gonna take like theory classes on the side. And so I enrolled in one, and it was real fun. I learned a lot. And at some point, I realized at my community college, I had taken this like music appreciation course that could like count for a music history class. And also, I took a UIS thing about jazz music that could also count for like a music history thing.
Yeah, definitely.
And then I knew like I want to go to take the next level theory class. And then at that point, I realized I'm like halfway deep into a minor. And so I think I'm going to do this then. I'm going to take all the music classes I can, and I'm really going to try to do this because I love music too much to not try.
Yeah, that's great. Just getting yourself out there, and at that point you're already halfway there, so why not just finish the minor?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yep, definitely.
And although there's one thing that might be too big of an obstacle for me to traverse, and that's the ear training course.
Oh yes,
because
I've heard about those.
Last summer I tried to take one, and there was myself and two other students. And part of ear training, first of all, my ear is not great in the first place. I mean, it's getting there. I feel like it's always getting there though. And so
no, I bet it is.
Yeah, and in the first place, it's not great. But of course, that's the point to take the class. But a lot of ear training is singing, like you singing solfege and trying to match pitches, making sure you can vocalize whatever the music you're hearing, like in the real world or in your mind, right? And it's just like I'm not a singer, and the other students in the class were vocalists, and so it was like they already had a leg up on me, and I was really struggling with it, and like I failed the first assignment. First of all, I think I misunderstood it, but also I just wasn't. Even though I did practice my ass off, it's not a thing. Ear training is not a thing I can get at the moment, and so I dropped the class.
Yeah,
and that really like offset like my whole plan of like trying to fit everything into my curriculum. And now
definitely.
I'm trying to re-coordinate it to like, first of all, not take it over the summer, because a summer class would be accelerated. It's accelerated. You're meeting like for a couple hours 3 times a week to do it, so you can finish it within like 6 weeks.
Yes,
right?
Yeah.
And so I'm figure, okay, I definitely have to take it at a slower pace, say during an actual like semester, a fall semester, because they only offered the first level ear training in fall. And so
next fall, is that your plan?
Yeah, that's my plan.
Yeah. Well, good luck. I bet you'd be fine.
I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like on some level it's because, I've had that much more time of me playing and like listening to music, and I've been getting in, as you can see, I've been getting into recording. I guess like listening back to things so much and like having it gel onto my ears, and maybe that's helping too, getting into recording.
I bet, yeah. I hear so many stories about ear training from all the acoustics and music students that I have in some of my classes. They all say, oh my God, did you do the ear training assignment or things like that? So I give you credit for taking a class like that.
Yeah. I didn't get credit though, because I failed and dropped it.
Yeah.
I admire people like yourself who major in, say, mechanical engineering and are going to like acoustics and whatever, because I have a background in, say, math and science.
Yep.
And if I was active in those subjects, say during high school. And in fact, I thought for the longest time, I thought I was going to go into like hard sciences, like become an astrophysicist kind of thing.
Yeah.
But at some point, I realized that didn't really matter to me. I wanted to do more arty things.
Yeah.
Like say filmmaking or writing or music. And as much as I can say I have a background in sciences, I don't think engineering is quite a thing that I do.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's a common misconception, I think. Well, I guess it's accurate, but to me at least it's a misconception, is that you have to be good at math and science to be an engineer. So I am horrible at math. Like in high school, in college, I am horrible at just the regular old math. Like if you take a math class with a math faculty member in the College of Arts and Sciences, like those math classes I am horrible at. And they always said you have to be great at math and science to do engineering. Science, on the other hand, most engineering, we take a chemistry, we take physics and things like that. Those are really the only sciences. Physics to me is not really science. It's more statics and dynamics and things like that. So like more like engineering. So you could say,
what's the thing they say? Like when you get down to nitty gritty and you get deep enough into it, biology is really chemistry is really physics, and physics is really math.
Yes, exactly. That's like all physics is math. So I am, again, horrible at math, but when it comes to real world applications and engineering and things like that, I can excel at, because you have a real world problem. You have a real example of what the math is doing. But in those math classes, there's no real world examples. What is the real world example of a derivative or an integral? Nothing. But when you go into those math classes, then you have real world examples, and getting to use what you learned in math classes to better like your problems and things like that. So the actual math classes I did not enjoy and I didn't do well in, because there was no real world examples. Mm-hmm. There was one faculty member, and I took her for Calc 2. She's now, I think, an assistant dean or associate dean of arts and sciences, Dr. Schroeder.
Yeah.
She was so great at connecting to real world physical objects of what we were doing.
Yeah.
So in that class, I loved every single minute of it, because she would connect it to real world problems. And she took a poll at the beginning of semester. Who here is an engineering student? I would say more than half the class was an engineering student. So she tailored the class to more engineering applications, because she knew all of us are in that class for a specific reason.
Yeah.
So, like if anyone listening wants to be an engineer and isn't great at math, all you have to do is just push through, stay for extra help, really hone in your skills while you can in those math classes, because they'll be really beneficial later on in life. And I think a lot of students get discouraged because they're not great at math, but just keep chugging along.
Yeah.
So mechanical engineering specifically, I don't know if the other engineering disciplines do, but we take 6 classes of math with like the actual math department. So we automatically get a math minor with our program.
Oh.
So it's a lot of classes, and I think you're taking a math class every semester except for 2, one junior year and one semester senior year. You're not taking an actual math class, but a lot of what you learn gets applied to other engineering disciplines. So
yeah,
it's really great.
Yeah, I happen to be decent at math. I had taken a calculus course at one point, and it didn't feel that far-fetched for me to get a handle on it. But I guess I have a mind for math and science, and maybe in another world, if I were to be enrolled in an engineering program, I might be able to do it. Yeah. But I don't really have the drive to do that anymore, because I'm so much more interested in doing like art things.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And when you go into engineering, you're always told you're a problem solver, and you want to be and people tell you have to be creative when it comes to problem solving. In engineering education, a lot of that is taken out of you. you're not ever able to really flex those creativity muscles so you have to do them yourself.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons, again, I joined a lot of the organizations I did, was because I want to be able to still flex that creativity muscle, because in engineering school, a lot of it is cut and dry, black and white, answer is correct, answer is not correct. Where in the real world, a lot of what you're going to be doing is not going to be intensive math. A lot of it's not going to be derivatives and all these crazy equations we learn in school. A lot of it's going to be creativity and how you're going to creatively solve a problem that may come up in the design or may even come up in your workplace. A lot of companies have a lot of red tape with government contracts and things like that. A lot of what engineers do now are trying to like traverse that red tape governmental area and how we can get something approved or get something reapproved, things like that. So like over the summer, that's a lot of what I saw was governmental red tape and how to get things approved and reapproved and how to better describe them so then the U.S. government and the people reviewing it that would approve it would be able to more approve it. So a lot of the engineering work that was done over the summer where I was, a lot of it was just like creativity and like making sure things are in the right place and creatively saying something so then people would understand it better and technically writing and things like that. There wasn't too much like real hardcore math.
Yeah.
Excel spreadsheets do hardcore math for us. It's more of like how to combine everything together to like for a final product.
Yeah. And you telling me about all this, I've always heard the thing about engineering is like, quote unquote problem solving, and in a way I guess filmmaking is also problem solving, because when you think about directing a film, it's you want to make sure it comes out the way you want it, which means you have to think about, wait, so in order to like get this shot, we have to make sure this happens, but like say it's physically impossible. And so like you have to think about, wait, so like, wait, we slow the frame rate down, or like we do this or that. And it's like and it feels like, I feel like most people think about directors and they don't think they're specialized in any type of actual area of expertise. But if like say if you're myself or any kind of like really amateur small filmmaker, you have to learn like every aspect of it, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Which includes like, you know, I've been trying to teach myself, hey, cinematography, how a camera works, how to edit, how to get whatever I want in post in terms of editing, how to mix sound, how to record sound so that it sounds good in the first place.
Yep.
And if you're a jack of all trades, doing all the things yourself kind of filmmaker, like say I am, you're learning you're learning to be every different department so that everything can gel together, and like you use your creativity to problem solve, to be like, wait, I have to make sure it does that this happens, which means I have to know about like the sound mixing, you know, so I apply this so that it comes out this way, and that's how I get it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And learning all of that will be beneficial probably in your career, I imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this is like, I suppose me coming back full circle, because learning about recording is probably the most difficult thing I have done in the past, like since I stopped being a scientist.
Yeah, definitely.
Because when you pretty much have to learn like mechanical or electrical engineering in order to record, or, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole major on audio engineering technology, and really that's what they learn is all the electrical components and things, and how mixing works, and going out and doing mixing and things like that. Definitely. For
the longest time, I didn't try to pursue recording because I'm like, I'm not an engineer. I wouldn't know what I'm doing. But I might not be getting the full like engineering education, learning about currents that run through electronics and whatever. Yeah. But at least I'm learning like the basic things like signal flow.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
Hey, if you want to record something, you kind of like, first of all, you need an interface. But also you need like microphones. And,
yeah.
And learning how to record and mix audio now, it's I feel like it's giving me this renewed interest in, say, music, because now I know how to record things. I'm like, oh, I can first of all, I can do this podcast.
Yeah.
The reason I know how to record because I pushed myself to start doing the podcast. I'm like, well, I only have me to rely on. I have to learn how to record.
Exactly.
And now I'm thinking, man, now I actually know a thing or two about recording. I might start making actual music now.
That is really cool. Yeah.
Or I might like produce for other people.
Yeah, that is great. That is really great. Yeah, we learn a little bit about microphones and recording and acoustics. But most of that is in the audio engineering like realm.
Yeah.
So, but we do learn like how microphones work, the impedance patterns, how different types of microphones work, dynamic, condenser, things like that. So you probably actually know more than I do about them. So. Yeah.
No, I wouldn't say that. I mean, like you right there. I don't know what you meant by impedance.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. I'm actually working on a project now on ribbon microphones. So yeah. So I don't know if you're familiar.
I'm familiar with. I haven't actually used one ever, but like I've heard about ribbon microphones. I've seen people use them.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm working on a project with a fellow colleague on how we can increase the frequency response of ribbon microphones.
Okay.
By changing like the internal dimensions and how wide the ribbon is and how close the magnets are to the ribbon and things like that. So we've actually successfully built our own ribbon microphone in the lab. We 3D printed the casings and the parts, and we were able to get it working just the other day. And what we're going to be doing now is the rig of the microphone that we built has all of these the like little knobs that you can turn, so the magnets can go up and down, in and out. The ribbon can be stretched or unstretched, and things like that. So we're trying to see which parameters are going to give us the largest frequency response from the very low frequencies to the high frequencies. Because I mean, human hearing is from 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz, but music can go lower. Even dogs can hear lower and things like that. So there is a wide application because this technology has pretty much stayed unchanged for decades. So we're trying to see if there's a way for us to increase the frequency response. And microphones now don't actually get from 20 to 20K. They flow, they kind of dip off at the end. And the very beginning is not, a lot of microphones won't get to 20 hertz. So we're getting there. But
that's fucking cool.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Could I, like, if you ever say patent a new microphone, can I get a microphone from you?
Definitely.
This ribbon microphone.
I don't think I'll be doing that. So the partner that I'm working with, his name is Luke. He is
Lucas Stroop.
No. This is not Lucas Stroop. Yeah. This is Luke Peterson.
Oh, okay.
He knows everything about a ribbon microphone. Over the summer, he worked in a shop that was repairing ribbon microphones. When he graduates, he's going to be taking over the business, doing ribbon microphone repair. So he knows so much about it. So if there's a patent, he gets it. I will not get it. So, but if you have a ribbon microphone that needs repair, he can do it.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I don't own too many microphones. Like this, I might have 5, and they're all like dynamics. But now that I'm turning into a producer, I'm also turning into like a gearhead. I'm like, oh, I want all the microphones, all the different microphones, and like I want to get like a new recorder. I want to build my own damn studio, get a full mixing board and whatever the hell, because it's become so interesting to me. I'm like, what's all this stuff? What does it do?
It gets very expensive too.
It's one of the most expensive hobbies in the world.
Yeah.
Like if you want to just get a decent interface to record with, it takes time and effort for these engineering people to put these things together. And you're like, it's so expensive. Like, yeah, it's also stuff I will never understand that's working inside those things.
Yeah, it like specifically in acoustics, we have sound level meters, and they're from Brulin Care, I think a Danish company. They are super expensive. Like I think the ones that we have are over $25,000.
Oh man.
Yeah. So things like that, even they can record, but they're not meant for recording. They're meant for sound analyzation. And even those are super expensive. The microphones, the small microphones on the tip are so expensive to even like think of replacing. So, and we have 6 of them in our lab. So we're we've spent a decent amount of money as a university getting the best equipment for our labs.
Yeah. Maybe I can like just sneak into the sound departments for university and like just siphon off their equipment or
Yeah.
or not. I mean, like at least like mess around with it to see what's going on.
Definitely.
Do you think you'll ever do like engineer live sound on the side or something like that?
Maybe, yeah. That's something that my friend and I that we did in high school. We've always talked about that. In college, it's hard because we're in two separate places and things like that. But after college, if we reconnect and start doing it, I wouldn't be opposed to it. It is a lot of work, setting up, breaking down.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of time, a lot of weekends. So maybe in the next couple of years, but probably not into like when like I have my own place, settle down, things like that.
Yeah. And I'm getting more comfortable doing, say, mixing in post-production. But doing live sound looks like a completely different animal that I would love to explore and see if I can do it.
It is very, very hard. It is very hard.
Like in your experience, what's it like? What's the most difficult part?
Yeah, so I really think setup is the easiest out of everything. The hard part is timing everything to get microphones that are on stage on in the correct timing. So like for like theatrical shows, for example, people come in and out all the time. There's scene changes. So you have to make sure you're following the script, making sure you know what number microphone each person is on the sound.
You just let the stage turn off their mic.
Exactly, things like that. Because if you leave it on, they start talking and things like that, and then you'll get feedback. Feedback is another thing that you don't want to turn them up too loud, or you're going to get feedback in the audience. A lot of different frequencies, so like radio frequencies and things like that can mess with a lot of those. So we actually one time we were doing a show, it was like Beauty and the Beast, at a pretty small auditorium, and we had two-way radios that we were communicating with like the stage crew and everything like that. Mm-hmm. We were actually getting feedback from the frequency that the radios were putting out, and we reprogrammed those radios to be as low as we could because the microphones were in megahertz. Mm-hmm. So we were programmed the radios as low as we can get it to go, but still getting feedback and things like that from the radio signal because of how similar the radio frequencies are. So and then also a lot, not to offend anyone, I'm sorry, but a lot of theater goers are really particular about sound and making sure that they can hear things. So you always get feedback from like people in the audience saying, oh, that person could have been louder, or like I didn't hear my daughter or something like that.
Yeah.
But at that point, there's nothing you can do because if they don't have a microphone, if the director didn't give that person a microphone because there's only a certain number, then there's nothing you could do about it. Yeah. Same thing with the actors and actresses on the stage. They're really particular. A lot of them can be divas or things like that by saying, why didn't I hear myself on the microphone? And I'm like, it was on. You just weren't talking loud enough because a microphone can just do so much. If you're talking and you're whispering like this, the microphone can't do anything about it. Yeah. You know what I mean? So you really need to project still with a microphone, and they need to like on stage and things like that. So, but live sound like with bands and things, I bet it's a lot easier because you're trying to mix everything together at one time. You don't really have to turn anything off. So we never did a live band per se. Mm-hmm. We only did theatrical performances and like smaller events and things like that.
Right. Okay. Is there a particular part that you enjoyed doing? Because I think as someone who plays guitar, I think trying to fit a guitar within a mix would be a thing I enjoy doing. You know?
Yeah. I think the most fun that I had was at parties where and events where we could have fun along the way. Yeah. So a lot of parties were very serious, like theatrical shows and things like that, live sound reinforcement. All of that is very serious. You can't really have fun because they're like really like, we need to make sure this show is great. There's no time to fool around. But at like parties, graduation parties, birthday parties, things like that, we can have fun with the party goers. So hosting dances and things like that. That was the most fun that I've had. And the long nights of like doing something for 4 hours, it's 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night, packing up, going home or like whatever. And it was great at that time to be able to like say, oh yeah, I'm a DJ or whatever. So, but nowadays, like now, I don't think I'd enjoy it too much. It's a lot of manual labor, a lot of setup, cleanup, a lot of downtime during things that you could be doing other things now and things like that.
Yeah, and also sound engineers are kind of the unsung heroes of most entertainment people consume, because growing up you just hear like music, or you go to a place like go to a show, whether it be like a musical performance or theatrical, and then you're just thinking, oh, I hear them because that's how sound works. I hear them and it sounds great. But most people don't realize, oh, first of all, recording things into microphones or feeding through a sound system, there's a lot more to it than just sticking the cable in and then having it come out.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Me learning about all this and talking to you, it's giving me a new perspective on exactly how much work goes into just making a thing sound good that you take for granted in like a YouTube video.
Yeah, exactly. And even in like a space, if you go to a concert, there's a lot of acoustics involved in that as well, and speaker placement and levels,
like just knowing the room.
Yeah, and frequency response of the room, because a lot of different rooms they could have really long reverb time of low frequencies, but the high frequencies could kind of roll off in a second. So it really depends on the room and setting your equalization on your mixers and things for the type of room you have. Because if you're letting the low frequencies rumble for seconds and seconds, no one is going to have fun.
No.
Versus if you have a high frequency that you can barely hear because it doesn't reverb at all, then it's hard. So. The architectural acoustics of something is really important as well.
Yeah. We're nearly an hour now. Do you feel like this has been good?
Yeah, definitely.
Do you enjoy doing this?
Yes, yeah. I don't know if I'd do it. I don't know if I have the time to, I guess, put into it.
Yeah.
But I think I'll leave it to the professionals. And you're clearly a professional at this.
No.
Yeah.
Some of these still sound bad.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I mean, like, have you? Well, going into this, what were you thinking? Like, what?
Yeah, truthfully, I had no idea. You didn't give me a topic or anything, so I was like, oh boy, what am I going to talk about? I had no idea what the questions were going to be like. If you were going to talk about anything, about me, about school, but yeah, it was just a sort of like a conversation, really.
Yeah,
it wasn't
that's
anything. What
it's supposed to be.
Yeah, exactly.
And the thing is, when people do ask me, like, "Oh, what do you talk about?" I'm like, "Nothing."
Yeah.
I just tell them nothing.
Yeah, over the summer when I was driving back from my internship, I started listening to the Ron Burgundy podcast. I don't know if you ever heard that.
Rob Burgundy, as in Will Ferrell's character from Anchorman.
Correct. Yeah, he recorded as that character, and it was the funniest thing. It was really funny. It was more of like a stage performance that was a podcast.
Yeah,
it wasn't real, like a real podcast, but it was staged, and it was really cool. Really cool.
Were you able to check out the show before today, or
your show?
Yeah,
definitely. I've listened to a bunch. Not the whole things though, but just little snips of each individual one, and I think it's really cool what you're doing.
Yeah, and did you? I think maybe the one person you may be really familiar with that's been on is Nate Carr.
Yes, yeah, I remember listening to part of his.
Yeah,
he's a great guy.
Yeah, and did you, at least of what you heard of it, did you enjoy that one?
Definitely. Yeah, I'll have to. I think I subscribe to it on Spotify.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely. Like if I'm at the gym jogging or something, I'll listen to more.
Yeah, I've been trying to get Nathan back on again because the first time was so fun that I think it'd be cool just to have him on again.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah, and what do you have going on for the rest of the day?
Meetings and class and things like that. I have a lunch with the Dean of Students today, discussing some accessibility issues in some of our buildings. And then I'll be working on that ribbon mic project in the afternoon. And then tonight's a pep band game. So the women are playing. And tonight, so I think this is their last home game, actually, of the season. They are 0-28 right now. which is not great. So we're hoping for a win tonight. We'll see what happens, and then I think they have one more game after this away, and then they go into the conference championship, which if they are currently last in the conference, so they'll be playing the number 1 seed. So it'll be an interesting game in the championship or in the playoffs. I mean, So overall, busy day, but that's normally every day for me, which I enjoy. I like being busy.
Yeah. What classes are you?
I'm doing the research project, so that's a semi class, and then I also have a mechatronic systems class, working on LabVIEW.
I'm nodding my head because I don't know what that means.
Yeah, no, I didn't know what that meant. Literally, I walked into the class and I was like, "What is this class?" And I thought it was something similar to an automatic control systems class we took last semester, which was kind of like block diagramming out like systems and like how things react to like an input and an output if you change things up. And for the first like 2 weeks of class, I thought that's what it was going to be. And it's not what the class is. So it's more mechatronics is a mechanical and electrical systems combined. So yeah, it's an interesting class. We're doing a lot of what we did last semester in the first section of it, which was the control systems class, which we learned more about control systems and how different things react to inputs and outputs and things like that. But now we're really going into the hands-on approach to it, and which is great. Yeah.
And one more thing I wanted to talk to you about is I think you're a Connecticut native, right?
I am. Yes, I am.
You're from Southington?
I am from Southington, Connecticut.
Cool.
Yeah, I love Connecticut. I think it is an amazing state. There's a mix between urban, suburban, rural. You can go half an hour and be in Litchfield Hills, and then you can go half an hour and be in New Haven, or we can drive 10 minutes into Hartford, and there's so many different things to do. And then you can go to Southington, where it's a mix of both. We have some pretty rural areas, a lot of farms, a lot of apple orchards, but then we can also go into like our Queen Street, Route 10, which is like completely covered with every restaurant you could ever think of. Any fast food restaurant, any chain restaurant, anything you can think of, we probably have. So
I go on Queen Street sometimes to go to the Guitar Center.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So there is so much to do in Connecticut, and I that's why I in a lot of the meetings I have, I say your thing to do in Connecticut this weekend, because a lot of students here are not from Connecticut, and they always say there's nothing to do on campus. So if you have a car, there are a lot of things to do in Connecticut. In the Connecticut Office of Tourism, they have an entire website, ctvisit.org, and all they do is post events throughout the entire year. And you can literally search thing to do in Connecticut this weekend, and there's a link there, and there are hundreds of things every weekend. So.
And do you think after you graduate, are you going to be staying in Connecticut?
Yeah, I think so. I actually just recently accepted a job at Electric Boat in Groton. I'll be in the area. I'll be in Connecticut. So for the foreseeable future, I will be here. Right. I enjoy it. So, but yeah.
Yeah. So I figure maybe in the not too distant future, I hope you'll remember me, and maybe we could meet up again and just like have you on the podcast again.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. You know? I don't know if I'll be going anywhere in the next couple of years, but maybe in 10, 15 years, I'll be somewhere that you'll care about.
Yeah.
But right now, I'll just be a engineer at a very large company working on submarines. So that's where I'll be.
All right. Well, I think that's a good place to end on.
Great.
It's been lovely having you on.
Yes, thank you for having me. It's been great.
It's fun for you, right?
Exactly.
I only hope it's fun for people.
Exactly.
Well, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Okay.
All right, thank you. That was great.
All right. I'll catch you later. You probably have things to do.
There are always things to do.
I have to make time.
Yeah, it's always like you feel busy, but then there's that time in between. Like, but this isn't enough to like actually do things.
Exactly. Yeah. And I don't know if we have anything in here, so if you want to stay around here, you can.
All right. Cool.
Thank you.